It's narrow, thick and tongue can fret, but it can still eat fish and cookies together. You from the other side, I from this side, we can still dance together. Let's come together, betting the peace. Liberia is all we are. Oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Popole, la gloire mon Dieu Aïe babo popole, la gloire mon Dieu The time we take to cause trouble, we should take that time to do something constructive in unity. Mama Liberia need us. Mama Liberia need us. Let's stop the two maggots. It can benefit us when we pray for each other. We will succeed when we come together as one. We will succeed when you get on your knees to pray for Liberia dead. When you get on your knees to pray, put Liberia first. Ataten in a quan. Abama Yambo by Liberia Jipa. Let's stop all our money one another. Put our interests last. Put Liberia first. Let's come together. Let's see the peace. Liberia is all we have. We don't want a palava. We don't want a halala. We don't want a palava. We don't want a confusion. Let's come together. Let's see the peace. Liberia is all we have. Teeth and tongue can fret, but it can still eat fish and cookies together. You from the other side, I from this side, we can still dance together. Let's come together, let's sing the peace. Liberia is all we have. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's time for us to show it. Put aside the tribalism, put aside the criticism. Yeah, let us work together and move the country forward. When mama and papa not happy, the dishes can be empty. When mama and papa ain't here, the children can be happy. Now what we want, Liberia. What we need, that's why I pray for, that's why we pray for. Let's come together, let's see the peace. Liberia is all we have. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, hello everybody. This is 2A Radio, the African Action Network radio broadcast. This morning we have a brand new edition of Inside Liberia. And discussing with me today is Mr. Moses J. Dawo. Mr. Dawo is a 2A Radio correspondent in Monrovia, and he covers a lot of activities in Liberia. Today, we want to look at the presidential call for retreat, and that is the government is having a retreat to look at her own activities over the years and to look at where they are and where they need to go. Even though this is the eve of for the presidential and legislative election. In conjunction with that, we're going to be talking about the governance process in Liberia. And also, we want to look at the eve. Why retreat at the eve of presidential and legislative elections that are coming up in 2023? These are our topic for talking points for today. And so, Moses, welcome again. How you doing?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity this beautiful day to be live on the segment, inside Liberia.
Okay. Yesterday I saw you. It was like taking bath in that. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday, right? No, day before yesterday.
Day before yesterday.
Day before yesterday.
Yeah,
I saw you like trying to help people who were like getting stranded in the water between.
Yeah.
How you felt that day?
Well, I think I felt so somehow disappointed because that place should not have been place that should be having flood, because that play is at the top view, and at the same time the most talk about avenue in Liberia, the most talk about avenue in the whole republic. Broad Street, the most talk about Broad Street in the republic.
I agree.
So I felt somehow disappointed seeing water or seeing the flood on most talk about avenue in Liberia. And one of the sudden issues in the disappointment as well also have to do with when a security officer who happened to be one of the senior staffers who is also part of this government should be getting drowned in that floor, and I have to go to leave or what I was doing to have to render services to him. So though there were other Liberians who had similar situation, but involving member of the Liberian National Police, I think it was so saddening.
Okay, most of we will talk more about that, but we have this issue that has to do with the retreat. As we are all aware, the president, George Weah, has called his entire cabinet, to attend a retreat in Nima County. Okay, so is that noise from the end?
They are there's a vehicle that is doing promotion passing around. But anyway, go ahead. I think it's going to be seized.
So as I said, we are looking at the retreat that is ongoing in Nima County, Ganta to be specific. And that the president of Liberia, George Weah, has called his entire cabinet, to look at their total deliverables. What have they done? Their promises, their deliverables, how far are they? I think we should be expecting a lot from them, from the retreat. What is your opinion? What are you hearing, about the retreat, Moses?
Well, today's retreat from the government, and as my own research and on other basis information that I have gathered from sources and as well as high-profile government officials, the retreat today going to be centering around their achievement, like you earlier said, their achievement, their lapses. Though their lapses, will not be considered, because what I'm trying to look at is that from the beginning of the involvement, the engagement, or other people when they expresses their opinion or when they express their concern, other people hold them with a kind of hatred.
Okay, they feel that the Liberian who are complaining people who hate the entire government.
Who hates the entire government. So from today, what I'm trying to look at is that the retreat, they're going to most of their activity going to center around their achievement and their achievement and what they are still about to do. But to look at the issue of the lapses, I think that part of the program will not really be captured. I stand to be corrected, because if you can carefully retrospect from videos that President Weah spoke in, ranging from a church conference that he attended, the service that he attended in Nima County, and if you can carefully follow another service that he also attended in one of the chapel in Morovia, where he made other statements against high-profile personality members of the church. When he referred to one of the pastors that if they say that if at all this was not in the presence of God, I could have said yesterday program. Let me just quote yesterday program. He said to one of the high-profile personality of the church, he said, if today's program was not in the church, I could have said you have lied on me. But since it is in the house of the Lord, I will just let it go and just make a correction on just a statement I made the church. Again, the statement I also made in one of the chapels here in Morovia, where he said that that we as a government officials and the president and the vice president are not in good time. And the pastor just said that. But again, I think from my own observation as the president of this country, as we were saying now, as my own observation as the president of this country, I think the leadership begins from the church. And members of the church are complaining that the church is not united. So, we are imitating from the church. So when I look at that, from these two scenarios, I think the issues of critics or, breaking out, in the CCL government, I think it will not really be captured in today's event.
I think.
So that's my own view on that.
Yeah, I haven't had the time to fully listen to some of the piece of information our correspondent is sending from Nima County, and of course, I'm going to carefully look at those, listen to them, and see whether we can broadcast some of those pieces of information. But from just what you said, and if the president said that, he already said it, because if you said, if this was not in the church, I would have said you lie on me. You said that. I mean, you already said what you wanted to say. So it's not,
of course,
you're in the church, you're saying that. You said if it was in the church, I would have said that. But you're in the church saying it. So what you intended to say, you have already said it. But that's besides the point. We closely following the retreat, and we think there's generally globally there are reasons why government or institutions call for retreat. Is primarily to assess, to look at the way. For example, if government A said, well, we want to build this, we want to do this, let's say about 10 things the government want to do. Like in the case of the Joe Weah government, there are key issues. For example, Joe Weah promised to build a coastal highway, for the southeastern region. So that, from all indication, we do not think is going to be possible. So we're wondering whether the retreat would be able to be to holistically look at that issue and say, well, we promised Liberia we're going to give them a coastal highway. Is it possible? Something like that. Then they can look at the government, look at the entire government, to see in a realistic term, is the government succeeding? Ask themselves. But as you say, I'm afraid whether cabinet ministers will be able to stand up. Now, for example, the public works minister, this is Mr. President, I think we're failing Liberian people. The roads are not better yet. We have done few, but look at the percentage of roads we have done. This is where we are. These are some of the challenges. For example, I wonder, on Saturday, they assembled in Ganta. On Saturday, Moses, you were on Broad Street. The center of the city, and there was flood right on Broad Street. So public works minister, why is he going to tell other ministers at the retreat? Something like that. So they have to be very realistic. Not only that video, but I saw other video like Johnsonville, Okay.
Yeah,
And
Johnsonville.
I saw some people in Soniwen. I mean,
Ninzo, yeah, and other
right.
community.
Videos came out.
RRA Highway as well.
Very well. So when these things are happening, the government must be more serious. The government must be serious. So the retreat, we hope that we will see a resolution from the retreat, not just a fun fair. People go and chill and dance buka, because yesterday I saw one of the things, I saw some buka dance actually, Finabono, right? I saw them dancing buka, people are laughing, all this thing. That's good. I mean, retreat has to be with fun fair. But don't forget, there must be a very serious approach. What is the government going to do retreat for? But let me be quick to point out this. The retreat, the venue being selected is more strategically considered for election.
Okay.
For George, we had to call for retreat in Nima County.
Yeah, in Nima County.
Johnson to be celebrating his birthday. These were all calculated decisions.
Sure.
So we keep to watch. Well, is it in the real sense of the word retreat? Or is it a way of saying, okay, the vote-rich region of Liberia is Nima County, so we need to target Nima County. We go into Nima, and while we are there having retreat, we should also be doing our groundwork, talking to the chief, the people in the place. We tell them, say, look, we have election coming next year. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. In the process of that, journalists themselves must be able to make perfect analysis as to what the government is in Nima for, capture some of the scene, not just listening to speeches and all of this stuff, but be able to say whether these people are actually in Nima County, Ganta, for the purpose of examining the government. You know, so we will be discussing the retreat, and we hope that we go deeply into understanding what is happening in the next few days.
Okay, so like you rightly put it on the issues of the retreat in Nima, I think I believe that this retreat are going to also they're going to use the chiefs, the paramount chief, the clan chief, you know, and other local authorities. Right. Make sure that they engage them on the issues right after the retreat. You're going to use them. But then, as we are speaking now, all of the chiefs, you know, and other local government officials, they are all assembled in Gantor for the retreat. Yeah, for the retreat to have, you know, to have the president, you know, to welcome the president in a wonderful way. But again, let us critically look at this issue of the retreat. When the president is in Nima County, and for example, let's say, for example, if somebody comes to Liberia and will be expecting the president of the Republic of Liberia to be to see, we want to see the executive mansion. Why is it for? Is to know that the president is located in the executive mansion. And in Nima County, we expected the president to be located at the presidential palace, not to go at the motel or farm, you know, any other place to see.
So are you suggesting, Moses, that the president is not at the administrative or the presidential palace in Ganta?
He's not there. I'm not suggesting. He's not there. The president is not at the presidential palace as you speak. So he's not there. It's not even renovated, the presidential palace as you speak. So the president he's in a motel. The president is in a motel. He's not using the presidential palace, you know, as the ground for the retreat. That should claim the attention of the people of Nima County, that even though he trying to just capture them, you know, to have some short time program, so that to have the chiefs, paramount chief, and other local authorities together, make sure that he can capture them, send out his messages, and make sure and capture them, influence them, tell them that they're going to also continue their services in the 2023 election.
Okay, I think that's a good observation. I didn't know. I haven't followed, as I said. I had to take my time to go through some of those information that coming from Nima County. But I think that's a good point, and that's a good independent view. Like, you know, if the president is not at the palace, where he's supposed to be residing, and then that's an
Yeah.
issue. In fact, if the palace is not renovated, I think the people of Nima, the chiefs, the elders, the administrators, the senators, representatives, they should be talking more about that. I remember some times ago we look at the in Lofa County, the administrative building of Lofa County was like, hey, some kind of a building that no one has used for a very long time. So if these administrative buildings are not conditioned, I think that is a concern to raise. Howbeit, we will keep following on that retreat, on Moses. As I said, we don't have much time this morning. Let's see. Except you have a few quick words to throw in there. Other than that, we look at the governance process, because it is from governance that retreat should come about. What can we say about the 5 years of rule? Retreat should have been in the middle of the 6 years. Let's say after 2.5 years, after 3 years, there should have been a retreat. But the We Are government did not have a retreat. They don't even have continuous, persistent cabinet meetings. So then today they are this week from last weekend they plan to go have a retreat, which is still good. So we have to look at the governance process. What is the perception of Liberia when it comes to governance? What do you think Liberians are feeling about the CDC government?
Liberians across this country, across the globe, they are highly disappointed in the CDC-led government. Let us just flag out some few issues. If you can carefully observe or follow the social media and other media outlets on the situation that occurred sometimes ago in Maryland County, that have to do with the mysterious death, where one of the cyclists also, was involved in killing a friend, his colleague, where he alluded to, he confirmed that he was the one who did the act along with other personalities. And looking at that case, the governor of Liberia was not able to intervene speedily to make sure that the justice that the people needed was served. Now, so the people of Maryland County have another perceptions on the CDC government leadership when it comes to the issue of governance.
Okay.
And let me just bring you to the issues of the recent one that is happening now in Grangeda County, where have to do with the acting election magistrate in presence of Alfred Dunu.
Okay, right.
It's also missing. Yeah. It's also missing. And up to now, the people of Grangeda still calling on government for intervention. And as a rule of good government, or the rule in exercising a good governance, is to make sure that to dispatch an investigative team to Grangeda County to make sure that the alleged perpetrator be brought to justice, if any. Now, let us come to the mysterious death that is just happening rampantly or randomly in Monrovia, the capital of Liberia. People just dying everywhere. You see EPA officer shooting everywhere. Assistant protocol officer also getting involved in bad.
Yeah, I think Moses, those are good.
And the government, we expect to be the one prosecuting those who are involved into bad attitudes on human behavior. The government itself are also, allowing these things to happen, and one way or the other, they are also part and parcel. There's a saying that says, if you are not, there's a saying that, wow, the network is breaking.
Well, I think Moses, I
try
will
to connect this from this.
Okay, Moses, if there's anything, maybe you can go back and come back on, right? I think your broadcast is not. But what Moses was saying is that we're looking at governance, right? There are cardinal issues when it comes to governance. I think the government has gone to a retreat to examine her own activities. But what is expected of them is, governance, what does it matter to the Liberian? What is it that Liberians really looking for? Primarily, the government was set up for the people to surrender their rights to them, to which they went to election. They elected George Weah. They felt that George Weah would have delivered, would have changed the situation in Liberia. But George Weah by now would have had, for example, electricity, would have had good roads, would have had good running water. Liberia would have had some better condition. All right.
Sure.
But to the contrary, these things are not happening. You talk about debt, Moses, and it's not strange since the CDC government came into being. There have been, from the onset of this government, there have been a lot of debt, a lot of what we would describe as mysterious debt. All right, coming from the auditors, the three auditors, Nimaya Nyinswa, and all of the other people who have died in the process. Princess Kopo, we can sit on and name few other persons who got killed. And the investigative aspect of those deaths, sometimes I don't think Liberians were pleased with the way in which the government of Liberia handled those unfolding development. Howbeit, we think this retreat, people should be able to point out to some of those things. The Justice Ministry, have they been able to adequately deal with these situations? The security apparatus, are they really governing Liberia? There's another issue in Grand-Jide. They said there is Burkinabes and the citizens that in Grand-Jide are even fighting over land issues and that kind of stuff.
Land issue.
So all of those things, right? All of those things, are concerning. So we talk about governance, security, are Liberian secure? Can George Weah say for sure that his government has protected the people of Liberia from the onset of his government to this day? They should be able to look at that. Okay, the road situation. I know the government has done some construction of roads or rehabilitated some roads, but generally, the local Liberia, has George Weah been able to deliver when it comes to roads to the satisfaction, or let's say about 60 to 75% of reconditioning the roads? In my view, no.
Yeah. So, sure, you're right.
Yeah, these are issues. Electricity, same problem. Electricity. I saw some, I think, other public service announcement. The government, the Liberia Electricity Corporation has threatened to cut off electricity for major government agencies like the Mura City Corporation. They say, well, these agencies, I will post that information on Twitter radio platform later. These agencies have not paid their electricity bill. So LEC is saying they're going to cut off their lights. Is that going to be part of the retreat? Government, ministries, and agencies are being supplied electricity, and they are not paying electric bill. So who do you expect to pay electricity now? The common people who hardly get salary, who don't have jobs? I mean, it's of concern.
I think we should not be surprised when these things they are happening. I can say for free that we should not be surprised, because when the CDC-led government came to power, if you can carefully observe, tell me the payloads and platform that the CDC government came with, they had no agenda. The CDC government came and they had no agenda.
I think for me, sometimes Moses,
they took over, they had
Moses, we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Their proper agenda, whether it was to our liking or not, they have few things in there. The first thing is George Weah mounted the podium when he got elected. During his inaugural and his first State of the Nation address, he promised Liberia that the first year I built a coastal highway. He's on record for that.
Sure.
So even to have started that, matters to Liberians. Because when you said that, people felt the country giant has come to change the situation. So for me, the proper agenda, yeah, they do have some roadmap for what they plan to have done. So today or this week retreat, we hope that we'll be able to look at that sincerely and be able to come up to your point. So Moses, we're going to be following all of these things, and I think we're going to keep discussing these matters because, and I throw in there, except you have something to say on governance, then we have the eve of election that's coming, or other things that are happening at the eve of election. From now to next year, nothing serious is going to happen in government. Nothing automatically serious is going to happen in government. It's not because of the job we are government, but all other government. When you have election nearing year, there's nothing serious. Everybody, lawmakers, going to be thinking about the constituency, whether they're going to be re-elected. The president is focusing on how do we have the people, do we have do we have our base? Even the sedition themselves are complaining about the government. So this is going to be their focus. So what do you think?
All right. So as I was saying, the issues of bad governance, the only country you can find with bad governance, particularly in Africa, the worst in bad governance is in Liberia. Now, as I was saying, on the issue of the coastal rule, like you rightly said, George Weah, which is the president of this country, promised to, have the coastal road connected, and every Southeasterner and every Liberians, with the high expectations of having, the coastal road connected, everyone was in their high spirit to have voted President Weah. Just imagine 14 counties to frame to have voted him, massively. But again, with the issue of he trying to change the narrative around to leaving the coastal road undone, I think, it's a concern to the Liberian people. Let's look at the issue of Lofa County, where they are candidate who they supported beyond the same. Their candidate who they supported beyond the same. Councillor Jala promised to, within the period of 6 months, to construct the road going to Lofa County to have a, like he said to have a pliable. That is, there will be no bar road in Lofa County. He did not measure on the issue of quota. So from the assurance that he got from the CDC-led government, and he assured the people of Lofa County that again they were going to make sure that the road of Lofa County be pliable before 6 months in his, in his ascendancy. So we also are waiting that to happen. And though the president, even the president of this country, who promised to have connected coastal roads, is still yet to be connected, and giving assurance to one of their candidates who they supported beyond the same, Councillor Jara, to also tell him that they can assure him that the Lofa County road will be pliable, within a period of 6 months. So we also are waiting that, and this retreat we want for.
Moses, I think just to throw a few light on just what you said at Lofa election. We're not discussing Lofa, but still we're talking about governance and pre-election.
We're talking about
that was one of the most dishonest things that happened. Why Councillor Jala didn't run on the CDC ticket? It's almost like, well, we can't win election in Lofa on our own ticket, so we have to feel an independent person. So the Lofian people can see them like, okay, yeah, we have an independent, we have one of our independent sons. Why the citizen? So it means citizen didn't have the strength for Councillor Jala to run on the ticket. So Councillor Jala, after winning the election, just after his victory speech, he recognized CDC.
Yeah,
he joined CDC. That's the highest level of deception.
So from my own observation, like it was planned that he had already joined the CDC, but it was not an official one. So they were just wanting to cajole or fool the Liberian people, pretending that they are now bringing him on board as a citizen. But automatically what we have saw from the just ended local election.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
What we saw really
yeah,
was like a clever, a clever attempt to
a clear
to
manifestation that he was a
yeah,
sedition.
right, to test CDC, weight in another form. But now the general election is coming because that will have an impact on the upcoming election. If you couldn't go and show your face, James Johnson didn't come here to show his face, but he used maybe a next door neighbor. He said, "My man, I can't go to that other house there. I gotta go there myself. People will deny me. So you go in front, And so the next day before I go in there, there might just be people say, "Oh, but he came here for a fool also." He said he was an independent person. And then he came to us, he said, "More vote for Joe Weir." How sure are we these people going to do, what we wanted to do? Howbeit, I mean, that's Liberia. The governance process is on, and Liberia should be the one to discuss these matters. Liberia should be what a listing, because the bigger picture is coming, 2023 election. This year, you have a few more months for the year to end. So next year, Liberia should be looking forward, be making decisions for 2023 general election, if all goes well. All right. So the retreat is a focus. Liberians are listening. We're going to follow them. We want to see a resolution that will come out of that retreat. And the happenings in that, we hope there will be other independent reports that we'll be able to read and follow. We hope the best for Liberia. And those of you who are in Liberia, we hope you'll be able to challenge your government. Talking this way is not about hatred, it's about governance. And in governance, free speech is one of the cardinal issues. And the reason why you have the right to speak freely is to make sure that your welfare, your well-being is taken care of. 6 years have been added, or almost 6 years have been added to your ages, your children's ages. You have another 6 years. How are you going to look at that? You have to look at the candidates, listen to their voices, listen to their plans, try to make a determination as to who is more serious to change your situation. That's what Tuareg is saying. Tuareg is not being telling you, say, don't vote for Weir or vote for Weir. All we're going to be saying, whether it's Weir, whether it's Cummings, whether it's Bwaka, whoever that guy in there, Daniel Cassell, whoever it is, we are telling you, you have 6 years to be added to your ages.
Yeah.
Take it very seriously. That's the time now. This is the time that you listen very well. Listen to voices or opinions that will be able to make cogent suggestions to you. Because it matters a lot if you have 6 years added to your ages and nothing happened. Every 1 year that passes by, you must be able to make a decision. 2-3 years from now, ask yourself, listen, welcome. Sorry, we understood your problem in our play. They say electricity issue.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay, we have a few more time. Let's hear comment. We're talking about the retreat, talking about good governance, talking about the eve of election. What is your take?
Well, since I did not follow the discussion from the beginning, but because of the challenges, as you are already aware, the issue of electricity is a major concern, especially as the project is ongoing. The guys have to, of the entire system to work on it, because of Plibo Fishtown corridor, which is being sponsored by the World Bank on the Liberia Electricity Corporation. So yes, I think we can go directly to the development from Maryland County, because I may not have sufficient time for us to discuss some national issues.
Yeah, but give us updates. What is happening in Maryland County?
Well, as you have been following recently, with the issue of what many believe to be a mysterious death of a senior student of the William V.S. Tubman University recently, who, according to his grandfather, returned from Harper at about 8 o'clock last week, Thursday. And it was week before the last Thursday, I'm sorry, and entered into his room. And the next morning, he was on scene up to Sunday morning when his fiancée called his grandfather from Harper that she could not see her fiancé, Anthony Tiaka. And that raised concern before they were able to go and check his room. So when he spotted in his room, through the door, he was able to see him lying on his bed.
Wow.
All right. So he raised alarm, and they were able to break into the door. And when they broke into the door, they met him dead. So that's how they sent for officers of the Liberia National Police. And the police, when the first police officer calling to him that when he didn't do anything, he did not touch anything, and he told them not to tamper with the scene and went back to the police station before the Plibo District Commander of the Crime Service Division went in presence of Jimmy Kader, who constituted the 15-man coroner jury. And so, following the discovery of his body on Sunday, from Monday morning, there had been a rousing concern among citizens, concern of suspicion that he was one way or the other tampered with. That is, there was a foul play. So the coroner jury were able to come up with a report that contained that there was also a foul play, unless in the health report where there was, little differences. So that prompted the county superintendent on behalf of the government of Liberia to have vowed that government will do all in its effort to ensure that a pathologist will be invited in the county who will conduct an independent report to establish the cause of the death. So,
listen. The students from the William V.S. Tubman University, they have given the government 7 days, and I think we may have gone 3 days into that 7-day ultimatum. What are you hearing? What are the students planning to do after the 7 days?
In fact, it was not just students of the William V.S. Tubman University, even though they have dominated the group, but we understand that they were friends and sympathizers of the late Tiaka, and they've given 7 days ultimatum. It was before the promise of the superintendent or the pronouncement of the superintendent for the invitation of pathologists in the county. So we understand that this afternoon there will be a meeting between the student group or the young people in the county and the women group here in Plibo Solukan district. So we await the result of the meeting to know particularly what's happening, because after the pronouncement, the same day, the women group of this district led by Madam Chris Walker were able to storm the office of the statutory superintendent, Aloysius Williams, to lay complaint to the county authority in the presence of the county superintendent, Josh Brown. And he told them similar thing he has said in the meeting, that they should remain calm. Government is doing all its effort to ensure that the cause of the death of Anthony Tiaka is established. So Anthony Tiaka's remains is being currently deposited at a local mortuary in Plibo, and the superintendent said the government is in a position to honor the cause of his embalmment.
But we also the women were very much involving when it comes to the death of one of their sons. The meeting that is planned between the women and the youth. It said that we can guess that there will be a bigger protest if nothing happened within the 7 days.
Well, we cannot suggest as to whether there will be a protest, even though in the women's presentation, they've given the local authorities 7 days, which is, let's say they have given it because they did not specify the number of days. They said in a week time. Okay. If there was no response, they will have come up with an unspecified action. But we do not, expect a protest right now, because the superintendent have already spoken that a pathologist, because all that is surrounding, all of the concern are suspicion that he did not die a natural death. Right. So to have eradicated all of that concerns of the citizens, that is the reason why the superintendent said there will be a pathologist invited into the county to conduct an independent medical investigation that we have to establish.
Moses, let me come here. That besides pathologists or people trying to examine the body, are there any suspects? I'm wondering whether the government or the security apparatus in Maryland County have some presence or have suspected. I mean, there must have been preliminary investigation. Like, for example, the fellow body was found in his room. So, and there was like cuts on his stomach. So if these things happen, people might have been the one to have killed this young man and took him into his bedroom. So preliminary investigation would have pointed out, some persons who, or even those who are residents of that identical house. It doesn't matter whether there was mother, father, uncle, aunt, or whoever was in that building. The government or security apparatus. I'm just wondering whether there have been some suspect arrested.
Well, as far as we are concerned, we have not gotten any report from the police concerning a suspect being arrested. Let's say arrested.
Okay.
But what we've gathered is that the residents of the house were all invited to make statements, and the statements are in the possession of the Liberia National Police.
Okay.
What also baffled many residents is that a person who came from Harper on Thursday, the family was unable to raise concern up to Sunday until his fiancée called to alert them that she did not see her boyfriend before they were able to raise concern. So that also is a concern among the citizens in the country. But we are yet to know as to whether any arrest was made. But if any arrest is made, the police will have us alerted and we have to be in the know. Moreover, the family herself is not agreed with the report that he died naturally. They believe that something had been done to have caused his death. So the family is also supporting the statement of the young people and of the citizens of the county that there should be a forensic investigation to determine the cause of his death.
Okay, Langston, thank you so much for those updates, and we keep following, except you have other things to add. And we think that these security issues should be issues of concern for the government since they are meeting in Ganta for a retreat, because it is not giving the government or Liberia a good image to see continuous death of peaceful citizens. Okay, folks, if you are following, we say this is 2A Radio, the African Action Network radio station. We are broadcasting from Pennsylvania, the USA, and following development in Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Whatever you're doing, this is how we want to close the curtain. Leave your comments, share the post. We would appreciate that we keep discussing the things that matter to everyone. Thanks so much, and until next time, this is 2A Radio. Bye for now.